Well, 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 another day, another dollar out here in the trucking world. Hey everybody, this is Joe, Trucker Joe here. Wanted to go over the last company I worked with before I started working here at PNS. So I did a PNS video. I figured I'd do a PGT video where I started my long trucking journey. So right after class, right after trucking school, I didn't know where I wanted to be. I didn't know what kind of freight I wanted to haul or anything like that. And then during one of the classes or whatnot, we had a representative from TMC come, and he was talking about all about flatbedding and what it entails and everything, whole nine. He was getting like really excited, you know, and he used one of the lines like, you know what TMC stands for? Trucking Marine Corps. And I'm ex-military, so I'm like, yeah, like I want to do something hardcore, you know. If I'm going to be out here, I might as well make it fun, entertaining. Hard work, sweat, you know, out here in the elements, make me, you know, feel good about what I'm doing. And it got me all excited and all. And then come to find out I didn't qualify to work for that company. So that stunk. So now I'm back to the drawing board. I applied to a whole bunch of places. US Express, Werner, PGT was one of them. Whole bunch of others for like weeks, which was amazing because I thought that because everyone kept saying, oh, there's a trucker shortage, this, that, and the other, that I would be like a shoo-in, you know. But what I came to find out is because I'm a new trucker, nobody really wanted to go ahead and hire a new driver. And at the time, it didn't really make sense to me because, I mean, how, you know, they wanted like 2, 3, 10 years of experience. Well, hey, you're supposed to get the experience if no one ever hires you. And I mean, now I understand why, you know, it has something to do with insurance. I think get less insurance rates, you're more likely to hit something, you know, even if it's minor, you know, more minor little things, accidents, I guess. And that raises the insurance rates. Some companies don't want to deal with that, yada yada yada. So my pool of trucking companies was, you know, kind of small, a lot smaller than I thought it'd be, until I put my time in and proved to myself that, hey, you know, I'm a decent enough driver, and you know, give me a chance, you know, and stay someplace. So it was like my last week. I went ahead and did my testing for trucking. I passed, and then I went for my CDLB for bus, just because I wanted to, you know, if I was going to do, I might as well, you know, take the classes. I might as well, you know, do that as well. My wife is a bus driver, so I figured, you know, God forbid anything happen here, I can always become a bus driver. You know, I like to keep my options open, just how I am, you know, with things. You know, the more options I have in my career path, the better off I think I situate myself, because it's not just me. You know, it was me, I would just put all my eggs in one basket, but I have a family, I have a wife, I have children, so I have to think about them too. And even if, you know, one thing doesn't work out, to make sure that there's other things lined up. So I did that for fun and also for backup, just to do it, so I know what I was doing. So it was about the last week. It was like, I think it was like on a Wednesday. I think I just passed my bus. I was still unemployed, and I didn't have any people call me yet. It was weeks. Even the truck companies that hire new drivers. So the very last on that Wednesday, I finally got a phone call from a company, PGT, and they called me up. They say, hey, look, you know, we'd like to bring you on next week. So I was like, all right, nice, you know, someone to give me a chance, you know. And explain like what they were about. I was like, awesome, cool. They said, okay, before you come here, we need to send you to get your analysis and hair sample. Hair sample. I was like, wow, these guys are really like high-speed low drag on like drugs and alcohol, which was good, you know, which was good. I mean, I had hair back then. I grow my hair out in the winter, and then I shave it all off in the summer because I don't like having hair. But I keep it for my wife during the winter because she likes me having hair. So, you know, compromise in marriage, 50-50. So I had hair, so I was like, all right, whatever. You know, like I don't do nothing. So I went there, I got my, did my urinalysis, got my hair sample. They sent it away to the lab. And they said, even if the results don't come back, don't worry about it. You can still be flown out there. We'll just, as long as it's done though, it really has to be done beforehand. I said, fine, whatever. So I did that the following day. So we told me like the route was regional, so I'll be home every weekend. You know, my wife didn't like me out more than a day, but I mean, considering the alternative. Let's say rather no job, because they didn't have any day cabs available at the time. So I was like, listen, a week I'll be home, a week I'll be home. She was kind of nervous about that, but eventually over time, you know, she got used to it. She was like, okay, you know, this isn't as bad. You know, now I'm out like 2-3 weeks at a time, so it gets a little bit worse. But at least at the beginning, you know, she was like a little upset, but she understood, like, you know, I needed to work, and this was, you know, how I got in. So be it, you know, put my time in, maybe I can get something better, something different. So the next step was to get me a flight, because the recruiter asked, you know, well, do you want to fly, do you want a bus or whatever? And I was like, well, I mean, I'd rather fly. I love flying personally. I love the window seat, love the views. That's just me. I mean, I guess I could have taken a bus, probably would have been a little bit cheaper, but me, flying is awesome. Like, if I could fly anywhere, I will. I mean, he gave me options, which was cool. I like that, you know. It wasn't just like, I mean, if I was afraid to fly, then I might, you know, be more toward the bus. And I think that's why he asked. Maybe some people are afraid to fly. I don't know. But it makes sense, you know. But I like the fact that it gives people options, you know. That's what life is, you know, choosing your options, what best suits you. But flying for me, best suits me. So I packed everything up, got all my tests done up, packed everything up. He told me everything I needed. I needed like my birth certificate, my license, because I just got my license done up at the DMV with my CDL on it. And then I was off. I flew out there Sunday night. And back then, this is 2020, March of 2020. And back then, you got a roommate, somebody with you. So I flew out to Pittsburgh because it was in Blairsville. And then there was a bus that took me from the Pittsburgh airport to the hotel in Blairsville. I went there, very nice hotel. I forgot the name of it, but it was very nice, and I had a gym, I had a pool. And what they do is there's a restaurant that's like on the other side of the restaurant. I mean, a restaurant on the other side of the hotel, that you're allowed like a dinner there or whatnot. So I went there for dinner, told them who I was, and I was on the list, you know, for PGT or ENTs, you know, and the waitress came out, ordered a burger or something, you know, and then went back to my room, and with my roommate, thank God, him and I got along. I've heard horror stories about people not getting along, but he was pretty cool, pretty chill. You know, he was there, he had his license for 3 months, I think he said, and he went ahead, he was driving a little bit, and then he wanted to do, I think it was like a mom and pop place, like a farm or something he was driving for, I forget exactly, but you know, he was all excited being there and all. So, you know, we chatted a little bit. His girl was down, helped him settle into his room. She seemed all right, she seemed pretty cool. And then we started orientation the next day. So what happened was we went downstairs for breakfast. They had like a nice hot breakfast, eggs, sausage. It was nice. And then they had in the back counter where the hotel people are, there was keys to vans. So use the company van. So we drove ourselves down the road. It's only like a mile away, if that, to where the brain freeze to where the place was, the terminal for them. So we got in, we went in, we got settled, and they have like classes throughout the day about, you know, what PGT is about, what are we doing, how you get paid. Was one of the classes. So pretty much, if you guys don't already know, some trucker companies pay by the mile, but this place pays by the profits of the load. So let's say the load that you're taking is, say, $4,000. I'm just making numbers up just to do the math easy, because I stink at math, so I'm just gonna make it easy. So $4,000, let's just say the load pays PGT. Well, they take out all their expenses from that load. Let's say it takes $3,000 between the reg, the fuel, the insurances they have to have, all these things come into play. So they minus all of that. So let's just say it's like $3,000. So now there's $1,000 left out of that $4,000, and now you are paid on that's profit for them. Now you are paid on the profit of that. So that's so $1,000 is your profit, but you get a percentage of that. So you get, I think they start you off at 25%. So when you first start as a new driver, you get 25% of the load. And at least in 2020, I don't know if they changed that, but last I heard, it was still the same when I left a few months ago. So so it's 25%, brand new driver, boom. So then you would get $250 for doing that load. Okay, so that's pretty much how the pay works. You know, then he explained the process of getting everybody into the rig. We had a driving test. They had a 10-speed manual, took everybody out. If you didn't have a restriction, you had to know how to drive a stick, which was fine. Of course, I barely drove because they were good at teaching you the bare bone minimum in order to pass your test. And then when you pass your test at school, like, that was it. So I was still, you know, bucking the gears a little bit, maybe a little grind here and there. It wasn't very fluent at all. Like, all the pros are just like, and I'm, you know, still trying to think of what gear I am, you know, double clutching, timing and everything. My gosh, I was so nervous too. You know, like, what did they say? I just stink as a driver, like I can't work here no more. And then they head me home. All these bad thoughts went through my mind. But I did good enough, at least, I would say, that they decided, okay, well, you're not too bad. But it didn't really matter anyways, because, like, they only buy, like, automated, so there is no stick anymore here at this company. Well, here at PGT, so I don't know what but they still had the old school way of doing things, I guess. But anyway, so I went there, passed that, and I mean, that pretty much worked pretty good. The good thing about there, because you are new to trucking period, is that they do that little test to make sure you're not going to kill nobody. They do know that if you do need to drive if it is required that you drive a stick at some point, that you know how, as long as you don't have a restriction license. They had an automated there one too for those ones with restrictions. But I mean, it was nice. The training there, because you're new and you never done flatbed before, like situation like me, I think they do hire new drivers, and I would say most of them, I don't know, maybe more like half. About half of them were new drivers. The other half were experienced. They just came from other companies, and so, at least in my class. Other classes might be different, maybe more new or more experienced people, but in my class it was about a good mixture of 50-50. Maybe they were new 50-50 on driving. Maybe they were newer for flatbed, because I remember almost everybody was there on the training of flatbed, how to secure, how to use the binders, how many chains do you use, where do you put the chains, strapping, classes on how to tarp. Like, they did all of this, right? And they also had parking. So we did like a 45-degree backing up into a spot that we would do. We didn't do 90. They didn't want you to do 90-degree backing because at PGT you have spread axles and it's very hard on the front axle when you gotta maneuver the trailer that like at such an angle. But we did go over 45-degree backing up. I think I came in. They had a little contest when I was there. You won a hat if you came in first. And I actually came in second, but I still got that hat because the person that beat me out, apparently, it was a girl. It was a girl. Apparently, she was a driver in the Army. So I guess she was an 88 Mike, and she used to drive for the Army. But because she was going to be in management, she was there to begin her training as a dispatcher. And because she was in management, she was null and void. But she won it. She beat everybody. So that was cool. It sucked she didn't get the hat, but I got the hat. And she didn't want the hat. I offered it to her. She's like, no, you won it fair and square. I felt bad. I did, but I mean, it is what it is, I guess, you know. But yeah. So I mean, after that, you know, I was with the one trainer it was a local guy. They sent me up in the hotel. He would pick me up after orientation. He would pick me up from the hotel, and we went out for the day and did our thing and came back. He would drop me off every day. We did it for about 2 weeks, but I drove the whole time. And then the next 2 weeks they sent me down to Virginia and for an over-the-road guy, a regional guy, and I drove with him for 2 weeks down there, and he was cool. He was a good guy, older gentleman, but he knew his stuff. He was doing this for like many years and all. He was respectful. He was kind. Both of them were. You know, both their trainers that I had, at least, were very nice, respectful. I mean, the first one I had was a black guy. The only thing about him was he was always late. He would say, okay, be ready by like 3 in the morning. I'd be ready by 3 in the morning and come by till like 4. And I was like awake the whole time. That stunk. But other than that, though, he was pretty chill. He was pretty cool, you know. You know, he taught me whatever, you know, I didn't know. He made me practice the things that I needed to practice. So that was cool. And the other guy was also cool too. He liked to take his boots off. Apparently he likes his feet to breathe, but I didn't really care. He kept the socks on, and it wasn't like his feet stunk. He was very animated about taking showers every night, which was good for me because I like to be a very clean person. I ensure that because you get at Flatbed, you get so dirty out here, you know, so much sweat. You're in the elements, you know. You may, in the cold, you might have multiple layers on, and you know it gets kind of warm and stuffy. But you know, he was cool. He was clean. The rigs were nice, both of them. So you know, no complaints there. They did hire good trainers there. So yeah, and then after that, you know, they both gave me the thumbs up to management, and then I was on my way driving. You know, and then I did that for the last 3 years, from March of 2020 until June of 2023. Can't talk. But yeah, I mean, PGT, it was a good place when I was there. I mean, I had very little issues with anybody. My dispatchers were good. Had this one little kooky one for a short time, but apparently I didn't know what was going on with her, but apparently I guess she didn't really want to be there at the end of the day, so she wasn't taking things seriously, and then she ended up, I don't know if she left the company, but she definitely left the terminal, so I don't know whatever happened to her. Hope she's doing well. She was nice, but she, you know, the job, being a dispatcher can be hard. You know, actually being a trucker can be hard. Being a dispatcher, I'm sure, can be hard, dealing with multiple people, multiple issues, all the time, bombardment from different states, you know, depending on where you are, between breakdowns, delays, blah, 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 because they do everything. They, you know, they're the ones that get either your loads, they're the ones that try to ship you out, they're the ones that try to time things for the next one, and I get it, you know, it could be overwhelming at times for them. You know, it's not for everybody, you know, so I never blamed her for, you know, being a little frustrated at times, and you know, some people just handle stress better than others, you know. You know, it's not a job for everybody. It's just like trucking. It's not a job for everybody. But if you're into trucking, you know, PGT was a decent company. You know, I don't have too many bad things to say. All I gotta say is if you ever have like a little fender bender, no, they do not like accidents there at all. One little fender bender, and you know, you could be in big trouble for that. You know, God forbid you accidentally bump somebody. You know, you're in a 80,000 pound rig and you can do some serious damage, and they don't play with that. So if you're okay with that, I mean, they were good, they were respectful with me, and I don't really have anything bad to say. It wasn't too bad. I mean, nothing really bad really happened. They leave you alone. So like, you'll have a load, they'll give you a load, you do your load, so you load, and they'll load you the next day, the day before, so you know where you're going the next day. Say you drop it off in the morning, that night you already have your next load, what you're going to pick up. So you're always rolling. They're very efficient like that. So you're always rolling, you're always going. Even if it's a crummy load, they may set you up for a better load at wherever you're delivering at that crummy load. So, you know, one that doesn't pay as much. So, I mean, they always keep you rolling. That's what I loved about them. Very rarely was it, at least for me, my personal experience, very rarely were they like, we don't have a load for you. We're going to have to wait, you know, work on it tomorrow morning. You know, that stunk at times, only because now I'm like, oh my God, they're always so on the ball. Like, what's going on? But it happened so rare that it wasn't really too bad. Happened like maybe like once every like few months, you know. They just gonna find a load for you that day for the next one. So in the morning after you unloaded, then usually before I was done unloading, one will already be up on my screen. If not, you know, then I would have to call. But it was no more than like an hour. I think maybe an hour and a half I had to wait for a load. You know, one time they were near the end of me being there, probably when, you know, because the economy is going to crap, so I guess they were having a little bit more issues trying to find a load for me. But it wasn't really that bad at all. I mean, would I recommend PGT? It's a good place to start. They do have decent training there. Like, they do go over, you know, the chains, how to use them, how to work it. They have like this I want to say warehouse or garage but they have this building, I'll say, that has a trailer, and they have like some like mock coils out there on an actual trailer, and they tell you about the coil racks, how many, weight, how to figure out how to do the math on that, how many are you going to put underneath, the 4x4s, which way do they go, believe it or not, you know, how to load up shotgun style, suicide style, and you practice. Like, you're literally up on the trailer with your vest or hard hat on, and you practice with actual chains. You know, where does everything go, where do J hooks go, how do you secure this, which is the best way to have the binders over this side or that side, and why. And they go over that for like days. I mean, I was there on Sunday, and I was there for like the week, and then actually stayed there for the weekend until they found a trainer for me, and then they found the trainer for me the following Sunday. So I was there for like 8 days. You know, I got there Sunday, I left Sunday, and then I went to where my trainer was later on that Sunday, and then at the hotel, and that's where I started. So I think PGT is an okay company, not bad. At least I didn't have any bad experiences. Other people might. You know, I can only go off of what I personally went through. I don't really, you know, some people, I've heard other people have bad experiences, you know, with PGT, but they weren't my experience, so I can't really say about theirs. But yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, I give them like an 8 out of 10. Pretty good, especially if you're starting and you want to do flatbed, or you're thinking about flatbed. They will teach you, so you do know before you go out there. You know, you're always a little anxious, you know, when you're out, when you get first out there, but they do enough to where you can get by. Plus, you can always call them. Safety guy gives out his I guess like the work cell phone number, and you know, if you have any issues about loading, you take a picture, you send it to them, you FaceTime them, and they're like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, and then he'll go over it. So if you ever have any questions about anything, or you don't think you could secure your load safely, you know, there are avenues. You know, you call the safety guy, and he's pretty good at, you know, getting back to you about, you know, all right, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. So yeah, I mean, that's all I have for today at this. I think PGT's okay, and all right, until next time, keep on trucking on.